Hello everyone, welcome to our video on photosynthesis. We're first going to start by reviewing the few slides that we went over in class, and then we are going to continue into the material that is new to us. So let's get started. In the history of photosynthesis, we learned that Earth's original atmosphere had very little oxygen. We believe now that photosynthetic bacteria were the very first things to start introducing oxygen into our atmosphere. So bacteria were the first organisms to develop the ability to do photosynthesis. And through this, they are the reason that we now have oxygen. However, today, algae, especially algae in the oceans, is what creates over 50% of the oxygen that is in our atmosphere. When we're going through this PowerPoint, and we're learning about all the parts of photosynthesis, I want you to keep these questions in mind. If you can answer these, you're going to be in good shape for the test. First of all, what is photosynthesis? Why do we need it? What is the equation? And within that question, we have to know what materials do we need and what do we produce? And finally, what are the two parts of photosynthesis? Now, within this question, make sure that you know all the little details, how the two parts work. If you can do all of this, you're going to be in great shape for the test and the quiz. So, a quick photosynthesis overview. Photosynthesis is the conversion of sunlight energy and carbon dioxide to glucose. Glucose is a carbohydrate, and if we remember, carbohydrates are sugars, and they give us a form of quick energy. Photosynthesis is only performed by autotrophs. Remember, autotrophs can make food for themselves. Heterotrophs are the ones that have to go out and find and consume their food. We are heterotrophs. Plants are an example of autotrophs. Photosynthesis only occurs in the chloroplast of plant cells or other autotrophic organism cells. And it has two stages, the light-dependent reaction and the light-independent reaction. We also call that one the Calvin cycle. So why do we need to do photosynthesis? What is its purpose? Remember that the sun is the ultimate source of energy for all life on Earth. But our cells can't use sunlight energy. We have to have a go-between, and that's where the plants and all the autotrophs come in. They can take solar energy, sunlight, and turn it into a form that our cells can use, chemical energy. Chemicals store energy in their bonds, and our cells break those bonds in order to release and access that energy. So when glucose is formed, all of that energy from the sun is harnessed and put in between the bonds. And what I'm talking about with bonds here are these lines connecting all of the molecules, or all of the atoms, I should say. So carbon to carbon, oxygen to carbon, all of these are bonds that contain energy that's available for our use. If you view this picture, it gives you a quick overview of what plants need and what they create. So we need sunlight energy, and that radiates onto the plant's leaves. CO2 enters into the leaf using the stomata. Remember, those were the holes that are on the top and the bottom of the leaves. Water enters in from the roots, and we produce oxygen gas that leaves the leaf through the stomata. We also produce sugars, and those sugars stay right where they are inside the leaf. So what is needed to do photosynthesis? What are the reactants, the things that are going to react with each other to create a product? Well, we said this is light and CO2, carbon dioxide, and water, H2O. And what is produced by photosynthesis? What are the products? What's produced? We have sugar, which is our glucose, and we have oxygen gas. So if we put all of this together, what is our reaction? We have light plus CO2 plus H2O gives us glucose, which is C6H12O6 plus oxygen, O2. There it is. So light plus CO2 plus H2O gives us C6H12O6 plus O2. So now to the stomata that we discussed earlier. Remember, these are holes in the leaf that allow gases to pass in and out. The picture on the left is an electron microscope image of these stomata. They let carbon dioxide in and oxygen and water vapor out. Remember from our lab that there's more stomata on the bottom of the leaf than on the top. This is so that when the sun's rays are beating down on the top of the leaf, we minimize the amount of water that we lose as water vapor escaping from the stomata. We can also open and close the stomata, or I guess the plant opens and closes the stomata, when it doesn't need to do as much gas exchange in order to minimize the water that it loses as water vapor. We also have to know about the chloroplast in order to fully understand photosynthesis. It is the organelle in autotrophic cells where photosynthesis occurs. It kind of looks like a little green disc, and inside are a bunch of stacks of tinier green discs, kind of like green coins stacked on top of each other. It's covered by two membranes, an outer and an inner membrane, and the big stacks of green coins are called granum. Each coin, each little disc inside, is the thylakoid, and this is made of the membrane, the same membrane that makes up our cell membrane. This